Hi, my name is Emily Holland. I'm from Barber Innovation Academy in Mansfield, Texas, and my sponsor is Christine Taylor. This is my presentation over exploring administrative careers. So I chose to do my job shadow at a school called the School of Lexia, which is a school designed specifically for students with dyslexia and other related learning disorders. And most of the students at this school are twice exceptional as well. So the administrator that I chose to shadow is Miss Linnea Oxley. At the School of Lexia, she kind of does everything. She's actually the director and founder of the School of Lexia, but she's also classroom teacher, general administrator, and she runs their after-school reading therapy program as well. So she really is the end-all be-all of the School of Lexia. Miss Linnea Oxley is incredibly qualified to be doing what she is doing. She is a certified academic language therapist and a certified academic language therapist instructor, which those two things alone are thousands of hours of clinical teaching and observation. And that is combined with her multiple master's degrees, obviously her undergrad bachelor's degree, and her practical teaching experience, just being in a classroom, being a reading therapist. So while I was at the School of Lexia, I picked up on four main portions or four main components of administration that I think are commonalities between both the more unique School of Lexia and your traditional public school setting that I am in every day. So those four keys were finances, collaboration, discipline, and knowledge. So starting off with finances, just Ms. Linnea Oxley cited this in her interview, but knowing how to set a budget, calculate the tuition for her school, set scholarships for students, and get financial aid for students who needed it. The same thing is present in public school settings, traditional school settings, managing budgets for different activities. So fine arts, athletics, academics, knowing how to budget and how to operate a financial system. To that extent, collaboration and knowing when maybe this is too far into finances for my qualifications, knowing when to bring other people in. The School of Lexia, for example, has a board of directors that is filled with other administrators, retired school teachers, retired principals, lawyers, accountants, videographers, people from diverse backgrounds that really make the School of Lexia a very well-rounded school itself, but they're also a very well-rounded team. You see this the same way in public schools where administrators will have meetings with other administrators. They'll have meetings with teachers and get feedback from teachers who are actually in the classroom. You'll see them working with upper administration. So knowing how to collaborate with other people and knowing who to collaborate with especially is incredibly important to being a successful administrator. To that extent, discipline and knowing how to discipline children, how to set a standard and a set of expectations and know how to uphold those appropriately, as well as communicating with parents or students when those expectations are not met. Saw that firsthand at the School of Lexia with Miss Linnea being a teacher in the classroom. And then also it's incredibly important for an administrator to have the knowledge and experience of being an educator, not necessarily a classroom teacher, although that's very helpful, but having administration experience, having experience in management and being in charge of people, being a leader. And then also having the book smarts, just having the degrees that you need and the qualifications and the certifications. All of these work together to make somebody an incredibly successful administrator, very well-rounded. With that being said, I actually saw a couple of things that I think differed at the School of Lexia and with Miss Linnea differed from a public school setting that I witness every day. Those two things were having a support system and then also just being able to find balance in what you're doing. So with a support system, when you're working with a small group of children that are typically considered to be more challenging than a regular gen ed student, you need to know how to call people in to support you, when to lean on other people, and how to recognize your limits and your strengths. Miss Linnea was incredibly, she was just good at this. She has so much experience doing it that it seemed to come so naturally to her. Yet when I try to do it, for example, in my internship, it's challenging. So being able to witness that from Miss Linnea in my job shadow was very interesting. And it was interesting to get to talk to her about how she actually manages to do that. Kind of going along with that, finding balance and meaning in what you're doing. Miss Linnea obviously is incredibly passionate about students with reading disorders. Two of her master's degrees are in reading and reading therapy and related subjects. She is passionate enough about the subject to open her own school for students with dyslexia and other related learning disorders. So she for sure has found the meaning in what she's doing, but also, like I was saying, having the support system and finding balance in what she's doing with her board of directors. Her family is very involved in the school as well. So knowing how to lean on other people and get that assistance is something that I witnessed firsthand from Miss Linnea. And I also witnessed it with my own teachers, with my parents, with my administrators. That's something that is a common theme of adulthood, it seems. It's just knowing how to be passionate about what you're doing, but not push yourself too far. So in conclusion, at the School of Lexia, I saw that being an administrator is incredibly fulfilling. This is one of my primary reflections from this experience, is just how significant it is to be an administrator. Not only are you making an impact on the lives of parents, of educators that are working at your school, other teachers, but also the students. Most importantly, you are impacting how their school day runs, how their school year runs, how their classes are working. So it's incredibly fulfilling to get to see students grow up through your school and get to learn and grow every day. The second conclusion that I came to is that it's just incredibly important to have the experience in administration and in teaching. And I kind of briefly mentioned this earlier, but having like what Miss Linnea has with all of her certifications and all of her degrees, not only that, but she has 20 plus years of being a reading specialist in Mansfield ISD, where I learn. So just being very, very present in the world of education, having that experience, having those connections is incredibly important to running a school like Miss Linnea, but also just being a general administrator and even being a teacher. So that was my experience at the School of Lexia and with Miss Linnea Oxley especially. Like I said, it was incredibly fulfilling for me to get to witness that, especially in a unique setting. So if you have any questions, I would love to answer them. Thank you so much for watching my presentation. Again, I'm Emily Holland. My sponsor is Christine Taylor. Feel free to reach out to either of us at any of those emails, and I'll see you soon.